So, what in the world could a monkey collecting bananas possibly have to do with the taxes we all pay? I know, it sounds a little out there, but today we're going to use this really simple story to unpack a pretty complex idea: domestic tariffs. Let's dive right in. And yeah, that's a totally fair question. But believe it or not, the story of one monkey's daily hustle can tell us a surprising amount about the way our own economies function. So let's start with our hardworking monkey. All right, first things first, let's set the scene and get to know the main character in our little tale. So picture this, our monkey, right? He's been working hard all day, climbing trees, the whole deal. And at the end of it, he's managed to gather 10 perfect bananas. That's his reward, the fruit of his labor, all ready for him to enjoy. But just as he's about to kick back and enjoy that hard-earned meal, well, something happens. You could call it a plot twist. A very important figure is about to enter the scene. And there he is, the Monkey King. He's the leader of the troop, the big boss, and he has definitely taken an interest in those bananas our little guy worked so hard to get. And boom. Just like that, the Monkey King steps right in and takes 2 of the 10 bananas. No discussion, no debate. Our monkey stash is suddenly down to 8. And you can bet he's probably standing there thinking, hey, what gives? Okay, so let's give this action a name just for our story. We're going to call it the Monkey King's Bite. It's basically that chunk the leader takes before the one who did all the work, our monkey, actually gets to enjoy what he produced. So what's the deal here? Is the king just a big bully, shaking down his subjects for a snack? Well, actually, no, it's not that simple. Let's see how this whole thing actually builds up to something much bigger, something for the entire troop. And this is the crucial part. The king wasn't just hoarding those bananas for himself. Nope, he had a plan. He took them specifically to build a bridge across the river. A bridge for everyone. So you can see how it works, right? It's a pretty straightforward process. First, the king collects a portion of the goods, the bananas. Second, those resources are put to use to create something valuable, the bridge. And third, everybody gets to use it. The whole troop benefits. And that's the absolute key takeaway. That bite wasn't for the king's personal stash. It was a contribution. It was a way to fund a service for the whole community, a public good. And yeah, that even helps the original monkey who gave up the 2 bananas in the first place. Okay, it's a cute story, but what does this little jungle fable actually have to do with us in our complex world? Well, let's connect the dots. It actually maps out pretty clearly. Our hardworking monkey? You can think of him as a producer or a business. The bananas? Well, those are the goods and services they create. The Monkey King, the one in charge, that's the government. And that bridge they all get to use? That represents all the public services we rely on. Things like roads, schools, and hospitals. And all of this brings us right to the main event. The Monkey King's Bite is really just our simple analogy for a real-world concept, a domestic tariff. It's simply a tax that a government collects on goods that are made and sold inside its own country. And those funds are then used to pay for public services. So when you boil it all down, our little story explains the basic logic behind these taxes. The government takes a small piece of the economic output, the bananas of our world, not for its own sake, but to fund things that serve the collective good for the entire troop. And that leaves us with a pretty interesting question to think about, doesn't it? Our Monkey King built a literal physical bridge. So as we go about our day, it's worth asking, what kind of bridges are being built with today's bites? What public services do you see all around you that are funded in exactly this way? It's a simple idea, but it has absolutely massive implications.